Hello, explorers, and welcome to my office. I am so excited that you are here today. My name is Lynn, and we will meet here in my office each time before we head out on our big adventures. We will gather to make sure that we're ready and prepared for our trips. We will always want to make sure that we have two things with us on every journey that we take. We will always want to make sure that we have our passports with us, which you can download on centeradventure.org. And every good explorer has explorer tools with them. Those tools are your imagination, your willingness to learn, and the ability to ask good questions. I know that every one of you have those tools readily available for you and that you're going to pack them for every adventure that we take. Boys and girls, today we are headed out on an adventure where you're going to learn about a word that you probably use pretty often. On my desk here, I have two jars. And in each of those jars, I bet you would like to find out what's inside of them. Let's see. In this jar, I have something that I would call dirt. Looks like dirt to me. And in this jar, I have a mixture of things that also look like something that I would call dirt. Oof, that's pretty gross. So if this is dirt and this is dirt, how can that be? So today you are actually going to learn about a term that would be better used to describe this right here. This would be better described as soil because it actually comes from the ground. And this right here, it really is just a bunch of dirt that came off the floor of my garage. So today, as you get ready to head out, I want you to be thinking about the word dirt that you use and how you use that word and how you can learn about a better way that we could describe the things that we find in our earth and soil and how we utilize and describe that word. Are you ready to learn about where we're going to go? Let's head over to our map. All right, boys and girls, I'm so excited for you to take your adventure today. You're going to meet Daniel at Goldman Farms, and there he will be with a farmer named Brick. And today you'll be going to Cullen, Virginia. So you'll start right here in Roanoke and go all the way up down to Cullen, Virginia. So I hope you have a great time. See you later.
Good morning, explorers. I'm Daniel James, and I am a professional food explorer. And today we are here out on the farm with Brick Goldman. Brick, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Brick Goldman. I'm a vegetable grower down in Charlotte County, Virginia. We're in Southside, Virginia. We raise about 30 acres of mixed vegetables and a few soybeans, and we got some trees on the farm as well. And that's what I do. I'm a farmer.
So today, Brick is going to be helping us learn a little bit more about soil. So we're going to learn actually what soil is, how that helps the planet in general too, and then we'll learn about some of the soils that are actually found here in Virginia. So you guys ready to dig in? So first thing that we're going to learn about is the difference between some of the terms that we hear. So there's soil, and then there's also sometimes dirt. Brick, are these the same thing? Are they interchangeable words?
No, they're not really the same. Dirt is just a pile of anything that's dug up and thrown together, all right? Soil is actually an aggregate of clay and sand and silt particles with humus and organic matter blended in or naturally blended in. It also has microbes in it that are beneficial to plants and the crops that we grow. Dirt, you know, it might not have any living organisms in it, but soil is is really a balance between microbes and you got pore space in it. It's a nice aggregate of material that's conducive for root development and for crop growth.
So when I sweep out my house, is that soil or is that dirt?
That's dirt, you know.
Okay.
It's just what's left over and you put it together. Yeah, that's dirt. It's not soil.
So the way you were explaining it too, it sounds like soil is alive. Is there a difference between like inorganic matter and organic matter?
There's a difference between the two. Soil has both inorganic particles in it and organic matter in it. You know, the inorganic particles in it would be stuff like sand or silica. That's inorganic, okay, the rock part of it. Then you got the organic part of it, which is your organic matter, your humus, and your bacteria. They're actually living materials in the soil.
So if we pick up soil though, can you see it being alive? Or is it something that you have to?
No, when you pick soil up, it won't be moving or wiggling on you unless you pick up something that's got earthworms in it. And you pick it up, you're probably going to find some type of worms in it if it's good soil. But for the most part, soil doesn't move. You pick it up, it's just there, it's sitting there. Okay?
And do the worms play a role in creating that soil? Do they do anything?
Yes, worms do play a part in creating that soil because worms will chew up the fibrous materials or dead roots, decaying plants. They will feed on that and chew that up and put the refuge or the poop back in the ground. It makes the ground better. The worms also aerate the soil, all right? To have a good medium to raise crops, a good soil, you have to have some air space in it, some pore space in it for the plant roots to breathe, and also pore space to help with the infiltration of water. You got to have that mixture, and worms, they help do that.
So soil, it needs new material, organic matter to be alive, and it's breathing too?
Yeah, I mean, it has pore space in it to let air in and out, and plants need that air.
So I'd love to take a look at some of your soil too, and if we can talk about it, is that all right?
Yeah.
Should I pick some up?
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. All right.
Please.
So tell me what we are looking at here.
All right, we're looking at soil, and I want you to note how the soil is crumbly, okay? It's not all binding together. That's indication that we've got some organic matter in it, and we have some tilt in the soil. If you get a poor soil, it will all stick together. You have no air space in it, no place for water and oxygen to move through that soil. But this soil is crumbly, it's fibrous. You can see some fine root hairs in the soil, and that lets you know that plants are growing roots and they're proliferating and moving down through the soil. It needs to be loose and somewhat porous so that your roots can grow down into the ground and then pull the nutrients up out of our soil or from our soil as they become available.
Now, is this what all soil looks like? Does all soil look the same?
No, all soil doesn't look the same. When you look at the soil, you note that it's kind of reddish colored, all right? And most of the predominant soils in Southside Virginia are red clay loams or silty clay loams. Now, some people will look at this red type soil and think that it's a bad soil. And no, not really. They're clay loams or silty clay loams. The red color is indicative of the soil being a well-drained soil. If you see any red soil, that tells you that it's a soil that water moves down through relatively efficiently, okay? Doesn't hold water for a long time, all right? Or water moves through it. You can find really dark-colored soils, okay? Dark-colored soils. That's indicative of it not being as well drained as what these red soils are, okay?
Okay.
Okay, but when you see red, it's not bad, it's good, okay? Dark colored soils tend to have a little bit more organic matter in them than our red soils. And generally you find our darker colored soils up north, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, because those are colder climates. and your organic matter in soil doesn't weather as quickly as what it does down here. Down here, our soils are warmer, longer, for a longer time during the year, and our organic matter tends to get eaten up a little bit quicker than what the soils do up north, okay? But they're good black soils and they're good red clay loam soils. They're good sandy soils. Sandy loam soils, for the most part, are kind of brownish in color. But they all have the good attributes and somewhat weaker attributes.
And then are all soils good for plants, or do certain plants grow better in different soils?
Yeah, all soils can be good for plants. If they're well drained, you got good drainage in them. If you got them fertilized and limed, so you got your pH where it needs to be, all soils can be productive. Sometimes you have to manipulate them to get them where you want. Up north or down near the oceans, soil that's close to the ocean, those soils tend to have high water tables. The water underneath the ground is a little higher up. And sometimes we need to drain those fields so that they don't get oversaturated, okay? So you manipulate that ground by draining it to get the water off a little sooner so that they don't get oversaturated, and they will do well. You have to fertilize if you want to grow decent crops. Plants need the major nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And then you got minor nutrients like calcium and magnesium. We have to add those to our soils, all right? Because when we raise a good crop, we pull NPK, calcium, we pull it out the soil. That crop removes a certain percent of it. So as farmers, we replace that with fertilizer. That's why we fertilize, okay?
And that's why we rotate crops too, isn't it, to kind of give the soil time to be able to heal itself? Or?
Yeah, we do that. We rotate to minimize insect pressures in fields, to minimize disease in field. If you plant the same crop in a field year after year, that particular crop will get a certain kind of disease. And if you do it year after year, you just build up the disease pressure in that field. You build up insect pressure in that field if you plant the same crop there each year. So we kind of rotate crops. If I've got squash here this year, next year I'll probably put a grass crop there. Squash is a broadleaf crop. I want to put a different class of crop out there the next year, okay? Or maybe I'll plant wheat here next year, to get a grass crop behind the squash, okay? But that's what you want to do. You want to rotate.
Yeah.
Vegetables probably gonna go into my fields, but once in every 3 or 4 years. I've got vegetables here this year. It'll be soybeans this fall, and then the next year it'll probably go to wheat, and then back to soybeans, and then back to vegetables.
So one of the other terms that the explorers and I have been learning about is natural resource. Is soil considered a natural resource?
Yes, it's certainly a natural resource. When you think of something being a resource, it's something that we can use if we need it. It's a resource. Is it natural? Yes, it's natural. Soil is starts out being formed from weathered rock. Years ago, these were mountains and all, and over the eons of time, they've weathered and given us the mineral portion of the soil. And the organic portion of the soil comes from decaying plant matter, and you got insects in it, you got humus in it. That's the organic part of soil. And it is a natural resource. It's something here that was formed naturally, that if we take care of it, we have a resource that we can use for years after years to grow our crops. Earthworms need it. You got moles in the ground, all kind of grubs in the soil. They use our soil and have to have nice aerated soil to live in. So it is a resource that's beneficial to animals and to us as humans. We need it. We need to take care of it.
Again, I just wanted to say I appreciate you taking care of this soil here too, and taking the time to talk with me and the explorers too. So thank you very much.
Glad to do it.
Thank you. And explorers, we will see you back in the office.
Welcome back, explorers. I hope you had a great time at the farm today. I know one of the things that I found to be so interesting is that so many different things use soil as their habitat. What did you find to be the most interesting? Thank you again so much for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring.